What is up, guys, and welcome back to week 4 of the MBL. This is week 4, right? I think this is week 4. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we're playing Team Rainbow Mythical. We're coming off of a pretty rough loss to 2D better than 3D, so we have to bounce back. Joe and Marti have a really, really scary team. There are some Pokemon that we're really afraid of, and we have to, respect all the options again, making sure that we have our answers to, like, in this week it's particularly the Diancie and the Victini. Both of these Pokemon are really problematic. We have Metagross to sit in front of the Diancie, but again, if they can figure out ways to get around the Metagross, then Diancie is in a phenomenal spot. I don't think I said how you doing, Josh. How are you?
I am a little bit under the weather, but I'm good, guys. What's going on? It's week 4. Well, just like Tommy said, we just came back from a tough loss. I believe we're 1-2 now, so trying to bounce back. Still make that playoff berth.
Yeah, I think we got the roughest part of our schedule out of the way. We're gonna have a bunch of rough teams down the stretch. I know even if we make it all the way back, we still have I think it's Ray Drive and Jamie's in the last 2 weeks of the season. So we need to start getting our wins now before we get into those weeks where we absolutely need to win. It's gonna be like pretty rough. Every week is important now when we're down in the hole 1-2. So let's get started. Let's talk about our team. Togetic, pretty standard. Same set we've run the last 2 weeks. I think the set's just really, really good. The only thing that you could really be changing on the set is Roost, but Roost has proven pretty useful. Togetic, if we're able to keep it on the field, is able to redirect for large amounts of turns, which is really good for us. Lets our other Pokemon win the game. And the more turns that we have it on the field, the better. So, Roost seems to be the best option for now until we find a reason for wanting something else, like, I don't know, Dazzling Gleam. But, yeah, Togetic is, pretty just standard.
Yeah, I think with our team composition and the heavy hitters that we have with setup line doing, also FLOATZEL hits pretty hard depending on the item you have on it. Metagross and Crocodile and Kyurem, allowing us to attack other mons with potentially not taking any damage due to Togetic's follow me, and it's relatively nice both with the EVLA. I think that's gonna just help us a lot during the upcoming weeks.
Yeah. Like you said, the Linoon, that's on the other side. We're running Pursuit this week. I don't know about this, so I'm going to try it, see how it works. That slot needed to be something to hit the pumpkin, right? They have I believe it's a pumpkin. I think it's the Gorgeist. There's, there's a ghost there. We need to hit the ghost, so we have a dark move. It's Pursuit. I think that everything else we're going to Extreme Speed. I don't think we're going to chance to Extreme Speed, or sorry, to Stomping Tantrum the Diancie if we were going to run Stomping Tantrum. So we'll just run Extreme Speed, and if it comes down to it, we'll Extreme Speed it twice and hope that we don't die to Diamond Storms. But besides that, Pursuit will potentially catch things as they're trying to switch. Maybe they try to, switch in their Gourgeist on an E speed, something like that, and we get to, put 60-70% into something as it switches out. So it just gives us another option. I don't necessarily think it's that strong, but it's something we have. Yeah, there's not really too much else to say about Linoon. It's pretty standard. We set up Belly Drum, win the game that way. In the dire situations, we go for Extreme Speed without Belly Drum to either get chip onto something or pick up a very late knockout. So as long as Linoon is able to either pick up little knockouts like that from low health or get up a big Belly Drum, either's fine. It just depends on how the game is going at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Kyurem now. Kyurem hits a lot of things hard. Kyurem gets hit really, really hard by the Diancie, the Salamence, but we're gonna use our other Pokemon to try and protect Kyurem because it can put a lot of damage into their Pokemon. Nidoking should just be going down to Ice Beam. Ironhead should be KOing the Diancie just because of that 4x weakness, even without any investment. So hoping for that. Earth Powers to hit the Victini. Like I said, those are the two most problematic mons by far, the Diancie and the Victini. Everything else we should be able to just throw Ice Beams at and try and put as much damage as we can into them. The Iapapa Berry is just because I believe that we are going to be taking a lot of damage from a potential Moonblast or Diamond Storm, so by going for the Berry as opposed to the Assault Vest that we've run in previous weeks, we get to, take all that damage, heal back up to like 50-60%, and then, pick up the knockout on the Diancie as opposed to trying to take hits from it over 2 turns. The other thing is I have Diamond Storm, and Diamond Storm is a physical move, and like we can't guarantee that Kyurem's going to be taking reduced damage because they might not go for Moonblast. They might just go for Diamond Storm and do too much damage. So Barry's just more consistent. I think should be good.
Yeah, I like the idea of Barry. I think that it's very similar to the concept of like Incineroar in VGC. I know that a lot of people opt to use Assault Vest, and I think it was last year, I believe, and I don't know about this year. But I know that last year people used a lot of Assault Vest, but then later realized like the Barrier was more, the Barrier was actually better for the Mon. And I think in this scenario, and especially against their team, I think that the 50% Barrier is just going to be better overall, a lot better. And getting that 50% back is actually pretty dope.
Yeah, there shouldn't be anything that should flat KO Kyurem. We should take a Moonblast. I believe that we're going to also be able to take I think I calced for Victini, Z, V-Create. So even one of their strongest Z moves shouldn't be able to KO Kyurem unless it's a super effective thing. I don't know what they'd run. They've run some pretty wacky things on as far as Z moves go. I know they've run ICMZ, Victini. I guess something we could potentially expect to see is maybe Z Bolt Strike from Victini trying to knock out the Togetic, given it's been one of our more prevalent mons that we've been using over the last few weeks. But it's really hard to predict, I think, what the Victini would be running just based on how many moves it has access to and the different sets that it can run. And we've already seen them run some really cool sets. They ran a Trick Room set with, I think it was Weakness Policy, and then the next week they ran ICMZ. We also have to be afraid of something like Scarf Final Gambit, which is very problematic since we don't have things with a lot of HP. In fact, I believe that Final Gambit knocks out everything except for the Kyurem, so just something we have to be aware of when we're playing. And if Victini just goes down from a Gambit trade, it just depends on what mon they're trading into. Could be very, very good for us because Victini is a problematic Pokemon. It could just also be very, very bad if they take out one of our more important Pokemons in the matchup, say our Metagross, something like that. So just have to be something we're paying attention to and aware of, that the Victini has a lot of different sets, and we can't predict it most likely, but we can try and play around as many as we can. Let's talk about Floatzel. I think this is one that we're both most excited about. I think it's gonna have a really good week.
I absolutely love this Floatzel set. I think when we were talking about when we were chatting about the mons that we were going to use this week, and we bought a Floatzel, and I was like, "Hey, Tommy, don't you think that Z-move Floatzel would obliterate their team?" And then I believe you were just telling me how but you thought Choice Band was overall and I was thinking with redirection and a heavy hitting a water type mon that dunks a lot of their team, except the Salamence. Salamance's probably gonna be a little bit annoying, but Floatzel literally hits their whole team hard, barring the Salamence.
Yeah, even that just goes down to an Ice Punch. If we're able to if Salamence is there on turn 1 and wants to stay in, then we can just go for Ice Punch into the Mence. Otherwise, yeah, the goal is just to go for Liquidation and follow me, and try and pick up as many knockouts as we can with Floatzel before it goes down. And if we're able to trade Floatzel, try and get 2 to 3 knockouts with it, and then only have to give up our Floatzel and maybe the Togetic in the process, a lot of times that'll probably just be worth it. And that's generally the goal going into the match. The main reason for Choice Band is that we need the damage output to we need the extra damage output to KO multiple of their mons. We need it for Diancie. We need it for the Victini. I believe also it can be a roll on the Nidoking without the Choice Band. So instead of having that one turn of burst damage with Hydro Vortex, which would be doing a lot, we just run the Choice Band, try and get that extra bit of damage every turn, and try and push for knockouts every single turn. So Yeah, it's a little weird since we're not running a Z move on that side. The main reason for that is the Z move I'd want to run on that side would be the ground EMZ on the Crocodile, but we're already using that on the Shaman, and I think that's a lot better. And since I don't think we're going to be bringing Crocodile, just throw Focus Sash down there in case like we see something in team preview. Since I know that we really can't take the Diancie hits well, but if we're able to, eat a Moonblast, go down to Focus Sash, and then go for Earthquake, it should knock it out. Because I don't imagine they're running bulk because they have both a physical and a special move, and they also probably want to be fast. So that really doesn't like leave a lot of room for bulk. So I imagine that we go for Sash and Earthquake. That would be something that's okay. But I don't think we're even bringing Crocodile, so it probably shouldn't matter. We were talking about FLOATZEL, weren't we? FLOATZEL's a good mon. FLOATZEL should have a good week.
Yeah. With that being said, let's move on to Mr. Questionable. I think, can we name Shaman Questionable?
Questionable? Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll do that for the future weeks. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Shaman, with the ground MZ, I believe we used that against the winning team. How did I forget that? Yeah, Dreamball, there we go. Team Dreamball, ground MZ, Earth Power, Siege Flare, Tailwind, Protect. I honestly, I like ground MZ. I like it. I do.
It hits a lot of things in their team really, really hard. They have the Nidoking, they have the Victini, they have the Diancie. We can just go for ground EMC into the Diancie if we don't want to risk a Seed Flare miss. So that's definitely something we can look out for while we play. Overall, though, I was trying to figure out what we were running on the Shaman. I almost didn't want to run a ground or a grass move since I don't think it's that important. I actually think that most of the time we just want to click the Earth Power button anyways, but having Seed Flare just to have an option to KO the Diancie would be nice. And then filler move on the set is usually going to be either Synthesis or Tailwind. I think Tailwind's just a little bit better. We have speed control with this, and if we have speed control with the mons that we're bringing, we're generally going to win most of the games, I think, that we go into. The only time we don't want to have speed control is if they have Trick Room stuff. But generally Trick Room stuff's a lot weaker to Linoon. So it's something we can... A
lot weaker.
Yeah, we can abuse it a lot easier if we see that. So, just go faster and we should
be in a good
spot.
Doesn't Togetic get after you?
It does, yeah, if we wanted to go that route. This isn't a week that I'm too worried about their slow mons. They have a Trick Room mode. It's more their fast mons that I'm worried about. And
I'm just talking for the
of course, yeah. We have the options with Togetic. You can run it over Rooster or Protect, either one. So definitely something we have the option to do. But yeah, I think Shaman's I don't know about Shaman. Shaman might be good. Shaman might not be good.
Yeah, Mr. Questionable.
We'll figure it out. And then, oh boy, this Pokemon. We need to I need to not lose Metagross this week. Not in a single turn. We've lost Metagross every week in a single turn. Week 1 was the overheat from the Infernape. We lost it turn 2 after just bringing Infernape down to Sash. Then we should have lost it week 2 against Cyberbass turn 1, of course. And then last week we lost the Dark Sea after saying we're not gonna lose it. We're gonna be aware of everything that we could possibly do to knock out Metagross. And it's completely blanking on Tornadus having multiple moves to KO Metagross, and it's we should this is why I wanted to have it particularly next to Togetic, because I think Metagross is pretty good in this matchup. As long as we don't have Scarf Pokemon, we outspeed everything and have super effective damage on pretty much every Pokemon that we're afraid of, at least. So Metagross can put in a lot of work. We just need to not get caught off guard and lose it. In case we do run into something like a Scarf, the Scarf I think would be on the Nidoking. It could be on something like the Victini too, but my guess would be if they're running Scarf on something, it's on Nidoking. So we both have the Metagross enough to take a Scarf Earth Power. Otherwise, just firing off Iron Head, Ice Punch, Stomping Tantrum that hits everything that we're afraid of super effectively. The Diancie, the Victini, the Salamence, those are the main things we have to be worried about, just making sure we have enough things to hit those Pokemon. But yeah, I'm not too worried about Metagross doing damage, just about keeping it on the field since it's been a problem so far.
Yeah.
Altaria.
Yeah, about Altaria.
Are we ever going to see Altaria this season again?
About that. Uh, I don't know.
We might. I don't know. Alteria's cool. Like, there's some matchups where it's really, really good against. We'd have to keep it on the roster, like, until we play those people, though. So, I don't know. Like, if we can get to the week where we can run the stupid, like, bulk set and just, like, roost up and, like, never die with Altaria because they can't touch us, that'll be awesome. But, yeah, it's just, like, not doing enough against teams where... The main problem here is that the most problematic Pokemon is one of the Pokemon that can hit Altaria really hard, and that's Diancie. They just go for Moonblast, and we take a billion damage, and we can't do enough back to it. Like,
Yeah.
I think I was looking at it, we could run something stupid like HP Steel or Steel Wing and KO the Diancie, but we're taking, like, something really stupid, like 70, or no, we're taking, like, 90% back in the process. I think Moonblast might even just, like, drop Altaria flat out, so...
Don't worry. Altair will be getting the Butterfree treatment. So I think it's a good one though.
I think it's a good month too. It's just like hard to bring it. Like after week 1, like weeks 2 and 3, and now week 4, it's been like kind of hard to make Altaria do good. We'll see what happens though. All right. Moving on. Krook. This is weird. Like, it's Sash because I want it to be Groundsy, but I think Groundsy's better on Shaman. The main reason why we're bringing Shaman over the Crocodile in general is just because Shaman switches in on Diancie better. If Diancie wants to Moonblast the Crocodile on that side, then we have, like, nothing to take the Moonblast. Like, we have to throw Togetic out in front of it and hope that it doesn't catch a Diamond Storm on the next turn. So hopefully we get Shaman in and are able to click either Groundsy or Seed Flare, pick up a knockout, whereas, like, Crocodile would switch in a lot harder. You never know. Maybe they do something at team preview. We're definitely not bringing Altaria, but, like, there is a world where I see, like, we could have brought Crocodile to, like, something. Like, they have to bring very specific mons where Crocodile is just, like, godlike. Like, they have to have, like, their Nidoking, their Gourgeist, their Diancie, all of these things definitely coming to the game, and then, like, bring it on the right side. But no, I imagine that we're probably leaving Krook behind. But Krook's cool, mon. Taunt is just because they could be trying to go into Trick Room this week, and like I said, we have Linoon. Linoon does, like, do pretty well against the Trick Room stuff, but if they're able to, like, you know, catch us off guard, maybe we don't have, like, Linoon available at the time, something like that. Like, what if we don't bring Linoon, instead we bring in the Crocodile, something like that? Then we need some way to stop Trick Room, but should just be the 3 above it, the Linoon, the Floatzel, the Metagross. Does a lot of damage, lives a Moonblast because Focus Sash is a cool item, but otherwise, yeah, it's just filler.
Yeah. So I think we touched everything. I think, like we said, Victini and Diancie, super scared. Floatzel, put in work. Linoon, do your thing. Metagross, don't die first turn.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, then we should be okay. I'm a little bit more confident about this week than last week. The funny part was last week we lost even though they brought them on, like, we were most afraid of. Like, I was so afraid of the Aggron. I didn't even bring the Aggron. And, like,
Yeah, that was so upsetting. Oh my god.
we saw the Sable.
I thought that the Z move on the Tornadus was, yeah, that was dope.
Oh, it was really good. And then, like, I think one of the things we keep getting...
They bluffed it so hard though. Like, I think it was they bluffed it. I didn't expect it at all. It was just like the way they were utilizing it. I was like, okay, maybe it's just like Hurricane, Tailwind, Taunt, something. I don't know.
The other thing that I thought that we keep messing up, besides, like, losing Metagross every turn, is not being able to figure out where Choice Scarfs are.
Oh yeah.
Like, the Kyurem just came in and clicked Blizzard, and we were like, oh, alright, that's cool. And then, from there, just kind of died.
Well, hopefully we got this. Well,
we know it has to hold the scarf. Like, it would be the Victini.
The Victini or the Nidoking.
Yeah, and if it's not one of those Pokemon, I think we should be okay. I'm saying that if we lose to, like, Scarf thing that's not one of those two things, you can definitely let us know down in the comments. that we missed that because
Mhm.
I'm going to cry about it the entire week. But I think that is everything. I think we've covered everything. And should be a great match against Joe and Marti. I said this last year, so I'm not going to put Joe through the old age treatment again. But, like, I grew up on Cerebi fueling my Pokemon drives, so it's always an honor to be able to play Joe and Marti. Get the pleasure of
Yeah.
seeing them at Worlds as well. So, two awesome people. Should be a pretty fun match this week. We really need the win, though, so we're going to try and see if we can pull this out. Anything else you want to say, Josh?
Um, Metagross.
Metagross, don't die. Alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on Josh's channel in the Battle versus Team Rainbow Mythical. Peace.
Peace.